Hey guys, it's Colleen here again from Traverse Area District Library to give you guys a tutorial on how to make this week's craft, which is the Leprechaun Lucky Charm Keychain. This can be picked up at the main branch library, the Woodmere branch, if you guys want to pick this up and make it with us. So, in this bag, we have a sheet of shrink paper, or shrink plastic rather, a 4-leaf clover template, a black fine tip Sharpie, a key ring and key ring clip, and a small box of colored pencils. So, what you need from home is just a couple things. You'll need a little bit of tape, masking tape, painter's tape, scotch tape, just little tiny pieces, all you need. A pair of scissors, a pencil, and then something to bake it with or to make it shrink with. We recommend an oven and then a cookie sheet or some sort of bake-safe tray. However, you can use a toaster oven or even a hairdryer if that is what works best for you. So, how we need to start is by taking our template. This is the design that you will trace to make your keychain. Now this is blank, but it's got lots of cool divisions that you could design it any way you want. So, of course, you can decorate this any way you'd like, but what I like to do is to kind of use those sections and make different designs or like mirror them across from each other in this template. Now I would use a pencil just because that way if you make mistakes it's easy to erase and try again, just to make some cool design or geometric shape, however you want to do it to make your keychain. So I'll just do a little bit here of things you could possibly do. You can see just whatever you feel like doing. You can make cool designs, you can draw pictures, whatever you'd like. I did this one ahead of time, and you can see I've done lots of erasing and fixing. So this is the one I'm going to use for my craft. Now you can see on this template there is a little hole printed on the design. That hole shows you where your hole punch needs to go. So you take the sheet of shrinky paper and your completed template design, a small piece of tape, and then tape the shrink paper as close to the top as you can get, because you want to make sure that you don't cover up your design, and then line up the hole on your shrink paper with the hole on the template. So you can see they are lined up there. So you want this to be shiny side up. You can see this is my rough side. This is the side you'll color with your colored pencils on. And then this is the shiny side, which is going to be the side we want to use our Sharpie on. So from there, take your fine tip Sharpie. It is a very fine Sharpie tip, perfect for tracing. And then very slowly trace your design. I always think take your time on this. The coloring you can go a little bit quicker with, because you really want this to be a really solid, good outline for you for your design. Now I like to make these thick lines as thick as it is in the picture, so I have to almost go over it twice right next to each other. And I would recommend working in sections. So like do this whole top kind of heart shape there all at once. So let me do that real quick for you. Almost done with the top here. Let me finish this up. I am not doing perfect, but that's okay, because crafting is about making it your own. If it's perfect, then it wouldn't be a craft. So there's my outline. I did it double thickness just to really kind of make it stand out. And I'm going to go over the thinner lines just with the one. Now, you can also, when you draw your design, I would say make it a little intricate, because it definitely looks really, really cool when you bake it and those details shrink down. But if you find that it's too intricate and you can't trace it properly, I mean, feel free while you're tracing to just decide, you know, maybe I don't need that detail. Maybe I can do one less squiggle or one less line in this part versus that part. The first time I did this, I definitely had to make some decisions while I was tracing, and like my star up here, I can't draw a star without doing all those center lines, but I don't really want that on my final design. So I'm just going to trace the outside lines. When you guys are done with this, post it on Facebook. You know, tag us on Instagram. Let us see what you made. I love to see the designs you guys came up with, because you can make some really, really cool stuff just with some time and imagination. Alright, so there's my top section done. You can see it's all traced there. I went ahead and traced it all ahead of time. So that is my finished design there. On the shiny side, everything is traced and ready to go. Got my hole punch at the top. Now, you need to flip it over and take your colored pencils. I use some just of our own. Feel free, if you guys have your own colored pencils, use your own. Get some more colors in there, but we wanted to give you something to start with. You can also use any alcohol-based ink. So main thing about that would be Sharpies. But if you are an artist and you have alcohol inks, they'll work very well for that too. But the back of this is textured, so it really works well with colored pencils. So on that back rough side, you can color in your lines. Now I like to do this on top of a white piece of paper, just so you can really see the color better. I find when you do it on a table, sometimes it's kind of hard to see because you're coloring on clear. So let's do, I think I'll do some blue maybe here by the star. That makes sense. Alright. And I kind of go over it pretty heavy to make sure that it's really getting colored in. Your colors will darken when you bake it, so it doesn't have to be 100% filled in and perfect. Because I'm coloring on plastic, they roughed it up so it makes it a lot better, but it's still not going to be absolutely 100%. Now, don't worry about being exactly in the lines, because you're coloring on a side that the Sharpie is not. So like this is the side I colored in. You can kind of see, if you look really close, I'm not 100% in the lines, but from the front, it looks really, really cool. So, I'm going to go ahead and color this all in, and then I will come back to you with my completed design, and we will continue from there. Okay, and I'm back. After taking far too long to color, because I'm a perfectionist, I love a good rainbow, so I decided we'd go all in with the rainbow. This is the color side, the rough side. And you can see from the front, get a nice, pretty design. So of course, make this as detailed or as colorful as you would like. If you want an all green shamrock, you are every right to do so. If you want to go all out, spend too much time and color it rainbow like me, you can do that too. So, now that we have our completed design, you need your scissors. So, this plastic is a little bit delicate, so I like to cut around the outside of your shamrock, just so it looks a little bit better. You can see I'm cutting there. Now what I like to do is to go one side at a time. So like I cut over here, and I'm going to cut this way to meet it. It doesn't really bend without breaking. So you want to try to do as little bending of the plastic as you possibly can. Again, you don't have to do this. You could just leave it square. You could cut off the bottom where there's some extra space and leave it square. That's perfectly acceptable too. It would still look cool. But I want mine to be shamrock shaped, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it all. As a few tips from me after doing a couple of these, when you're doing your Sharpie, I would be sure to do a section at a time when you're tracing and be turning your design so your hand isn't in the Sharpie. You're on the shiny side, it's a little slicker. Sharpie takes a few seconds to dry, so you don't want to smear your design too much. Now when you're doing your colored pencil, it doesn't really matter so much. Colored pencil isn't going to smear, so you can kind of move around as you like. Now if you decide to use an alcohol-based ink like Sharpie on your colorful side, I would work section by section just to give you the best chance of not smearing your design. I'm about halfway around now, so I'll keep going here. Another thing I would do if you're looking for inspiration on how to color it, I would start with one section that you know how you want to color it. For me, that was my star. I knew I wanted a star with purple and blue, so it would stick out. And then I decided that I wanted to do rainbow, so I worked around that. And I also saw this section, which I think kind of looks like a rainbow, so I worked around that to make my decisions on what color to make everything. Alright, 2 sections left here. Now this is a time, if you like, to go ahead and preheat your oven. It bakes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. So preheat your oven to 325. Make sure it's all the way up to that temperature before we put this in the oven. One more section here. And you'll need to put it on either a cookie sheet or some kind of a baking tray, a pie tray, or something like that that's flat, that's going to be oven safe for you. Or put it in a toaster oven, or if you have neither of those, use a blow dryer. It takes a little bit longer, but it will work. Alright, so here's my design. It's all cut out. Put it a little white so you can see a little better. So it's all cut out and ready to go. As you can see, it's about the size of the palm of my hand. It's pretty large. So I'm going to go preheat my oven and put it in there, and I will come back and show you what size we got to. Okay, I'm back. Oven is preheating. I actually wanted to pop back in just to give you a couple pointers on baking and do one more step while we're waiting for it to preheat. If you take your little baggie with your clip and ring in it, you can do this while the oven is preheating. Take your ring, and you can see that there is an opening there, and thread that through the bottom part of your keyring. It's easier to do this now so that you don't have to do both of them while it's attached to your projects. So through until it's all the way out. So, little quick step. Now, as for the baking, 325 on a cookie sheet. It's about 1 to 3 minutes in the oven. What it's going to do is it's going to initially be flat and then kind of curl up on the edges and almost flip in on itself, and it's going to really freak you out because it's going to look like it's ruined. But it's not. So it's going to do that, and then it's going to flatten back out. When it's flattened back out and it's smaller, it's time to take it out of the oven. 1 to 3 minutes, but the best way I tell, I don't really time it, is just to watch it curl and then flatten back. When it's flattened back, you're good to go to take it out of the oven, and then let it cool before you handle it. So, last step. I'm going to put it in the oven, see what we end up with, and I will be back one last time. Okay, and we're back. Alright, so mine took about 1.5 minutes in the oven. About 30 seconds, it started to curl up, and then I gave it another, 30 seconds to a minute, and it was flattened back out. I let mine cool a little bit. When you first take it out of the oven, it almost seemed like it stuck to the pan, but it didn't. Another thing you can do is if it's still a little bit curled up over on the edges, to press it flat with an oven mitt. Make sure you do something that's going to tolerate the heat though, because you don't want to burn your hands. So, this is my finished product. Put white behind it so you can see it better. You can see all those little details really kind of come through now. So, quite a bit smaller than it started with. So it shrinks by about 1/3 of the original size. So last thing we have to do is attach our key ring. So we've already attached our clip. What we need to do now is open this back up and then find our hole. There it is. And thread it through. Now what I like to do is kind of lay it flat until we get it in. That way we're scratching it as little as possible. It's going to be kind of a tight fit, but it should fit okay for you. And work it around the ring. And we're done. You have a completed keychain. Hook it to your backpack, hook it to your purse, hook it to your belt loop. Give you a little bit of luck in 2020. So thanks guys again for crafting with us. Be sure to come pick up a kit at the Woodmere Library branch, and I hope you guys are having a good quarantine summer.